Hi, this is John Chenal with Vader TV, and today we're talking about cybersquatting with Graham McRoby, the CEO of Citizen Hawk. Now, you guys go after cybersquatters. People who... Here's the interesting thing. I've always just assumed that when someone types in a wrong domain name, they just hit the back button and go ahead and type in the right one. But apparently enough people don't do that and go to the wrong websites and click to have an opportunity for you guys to make a business. But talk a little bit about how you guys make money and what you do up front, because you have corporate clients like Overstock.com, but they don't pay you up front. Talk a little bit about your business model and the revenue model, if you would.
Sure.
What you guys
so
do.
We fund the expenses that are involved on an upfront basis for recovering domain names, and some of those are quite substantial. So, for instance, to recover a domain name through an ICANN-based complaint procedure,
it's the Internet Registrar,
right? You're looking at $1,300 or more to file that complaint, and when you're a company that is afflicted with hundreds and hundreds of typo-squatting domain names, the idea of spending $1,300 a piece times hundreds of names becomes cost prohibitive. And so we sort of turn the model around. We say, we'll pay for the expenses in recovering the names, including those filing fees. There's no upfront fees, there's no monthly fees, and so we're taking literally all of the financial risk involved in recovering the domain names. And in exchange, we ask companies for their permission to take the traffic that we recover from these typo-squatting domain names and point it back at their website, and we ask for a commission on the new sales that result from that traffic.
And now, just for instance, I see on the screen here Microsoft, which has 550 potential squatters. Once you find, you only go after the ones that look like they would generate the most traffic then, obviously. Like if there's a cybersquatting name that's not really getting a lot of traffic, you guys don't go after it. But talk about a little bit the process also in terms of what you're offering. When you do in and go, say, this is what we could do for your business, cybersquatting, what is it that you can do for them in terms of metric as a certain percent or capture traffic back for them, and essentially bringing them more traffic that they would lose, right?
Exactly. So what we offer that's potentially a little bit different is we bring to bear a degree of automation and sophistication and intelligence that companies, perhaps other maybe law firms or whatnot, would have a great deal of difficulty achieving on their own. So we have software that goes and figures out what all the misspelled versions of the domain names are. We go and capture screenshots. We do analysis automatically on who owns the names and how those sites are being monetized, and we have a fairly extensive database of sort of serial cyber squatters, people that do this quite frequently. And so with that intelligence, we can help companies go after the names that matter.
Right. We see here Microsoft, 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 Kitegrosoft. All these things that are typically misspelled, and people are out there making money off them. Now, what happens to the cyber squatter when you guys go after them? You redirect the traffic to your client. They capture the advertising. You get a chunk of that. But then, do you refer those out for, or do you initiate civil action? Does the company do that?
No.
Because I think it was like $100,000 per name. There's a 1999 law on anti-cybersquatting, and it's like $100,000 per name. I think a lot of people don't realize that because it's a pretty stiff fine, or they may not do it. But what happens to the cyber squatter when you guys are done with them?
Well, that's an important point I should probably mention, which is that we do not file legal actions. We're not lawyers or attorneys or a law firm or anything like that. And the law that you're referring to, the Anti-Cybersquatting Consumer Protection Act of 1999, does provide for this $100,000 per domain name fine or damages, I guess. But companies are frequently not able to file these cases because if you think of, again, in Microsoft's case, 550 of them, they're not going to go file 550 lawsuits, even if they could potentially get $100,000 in damages at the end of it.
They file some.
They may file some. In fact, I think Microsoft quite possibly has. In fact, I know for a fact they filed some. But there are other ways of getting domain names back, and one of the mechanisms that we use is this complaint procedure through ICANN. It's called the UDRP, and the UDRP is a non-legal approach to doing roughly the same thing, only you're not getting damages. You're just getting the transfer of the domain name.
Right, and that's part of the services that you guys do.
That's correct.
To get that back. Now, talk a little bit about some of your customers, where you're at. You're generating revenue now. Founded when you raised $3 million earlier this month. What are you doing with the money? And tell us about where you're at in the sort of life cycle of business revenue, et cetera.
Sure. So the company was founded at the beginning of 2006, And we have approximately 25 customers, many brand names that you would know. If you think about it for a moment, it doesn't make sense for us to work for small companies, particularly because it's really the sites that have a large volume of traffic that are afflicted the most.
And these are big consumer brand names?
Big consumer brand names, exactly.
Could you talk about any of them? Just
well, there's some that are mentioned on our website. Overstock.com is a good example of a company that we're working with that I actually do have permission to mention. Some of them would prefer we not mention who we're working with. But they, as far as the raise goes, we've gotten to the point where we've proven our model works. We've gotten to the point where we've proven that we can be profitable on an account-by-account basis, and the raise allows us to scale rapidly.
Okay.
Essentially.
And then any news coming down the pike that we should be aware of or looking for in terms of either new customers or new services or anything?
We have one very exciting announcement, but I can't quite say it just yet. It's a couple weeks off.
Regarding just
organizational announcement, let me put it like that.
So new board members, new executives?
Something like that, yeah.
Okay, all right. Graham, we'll be looking for that. Appreciate you coming on board today. Been speaking today with Graham McRoby, the CEO of Citizen Hawk, the anti-cybersquatting company. For Vader TV, this is John Chenal.